Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be, well, this week is going to be ending off the standard format, at least until Friday, with some really unique decks that I've been either tinkering with or working on. The first one is obviously going to be this deck that you've seen today, Cornerstone with Premium Power Pro, and then down here as well is my unique Charizard Terra Box. I'm not going to leak that now, I'd rather you wait to see that because it's going to be a good one. That'll be Wednesday's video. But of course, with this being the last week before, rotation and everything, I figured I'd end this off with something more unique and, something that, to celebrate the standard format and to celebrate it finally becoming, the rotation format, which I think most of us are looking forward to. So as per usual, in the description below, there's going to be visual links, double the deck list, which is also available to copy in the description below. There's the games that we'll play, and the outro and what I think of the deck. So of course today, our main attacker, believe it or not, because we're actually attacking with this list, is going to be Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon. So some of you may be wondering what the PPP means. Well, that's that's where the fun part comes in, because we played 4 Premium Power Pro. The whole idea of this is, obviously, Cornerstone doesn't really do a lot of damage. Like with Munkidori, it can obviously start to scale up, but you have to let your opponent hit into your Cornerstone, which can obviously be a bit of a chore. And obviously, sometimes they may not even play an answer to Cornerstone, so you're just there hitting 140, 140, 140, which, that could be a little bit lackluster sometimes. So I thought, well, why not put in some Premium Power Pros, albeit 4 of them, and this gives us extra damage. Because obviously, Cornerstone's damage is not affected by weakness or resistance, but damage modifiers are impacted by this, so we can then play at least 2 Premium Power Pro, and then we're doing 200 damage with a Cornerstone. And if they hit into us and we use another Power Pro, we could potentially be hitting some insane numbers with Cornerstone, which is not something you typically expect. Now, I have had to throw in a 2-2 Crustle line. Don't worry, it's not just for, being a douche or, playing the deck because, well, playing the Crustle because I need the Crustle. This is literally because Cornerstone has been losing its value recently with a lot of Mega EXs that don't have abilities. Obviously, a lot of decks are now playing outs to Cornerstone, but not Crustle. So I thought, well, we don't need a lot of energy on these guys anyway. Like, most of their attack cost is colorless. And while we can play Grass Energy, we can play a few of them. We can play a 2-2 line of the Crustle. Obviously, we've got Munkidoris in the list as well, so that could be another factor. But without this 2-2 Crustle line, we would lose to a lot of the Megas in the format right now. So that's kind of why I've had to go with the Crustle line. Plus, it gives us an extra answer to certain matchups. Obviously, our A spec will be Trolley, but we'll go over more of that in a moment, because obviously we do have Munkidoris in the list, and of course the 4 Cornerstone. So, let's go to the deck list, and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This has been a really unique one to make. I've only had this deck for about a week, I'll be honest. And well, to end off the standard format, as I said, I wanted to play some decks that are quite unique and, something that you typically would not expect. Obviously, Charizard Terra Box, which was the other deck that I mentioned that is going to be this week. Obviously, post-rotation decks will be starting from Friday. That is a deck that I'm pretty certain none of you are expecting the build that I've gone with, so that's going to be something quite special and everything. But obviously, in this list, we're only playing 12 Pokemon, 2 of which are evolutions, so, we do have a lot in that regard. We have the Precious Trolley with the Arven package, so we can at least, get those Cornerstones, Munkidoris, even an energy onto a Dwebble if it's relevant. We have a lot of options, which is something that I think this deck can appreciate. And obviously having the Crustle line is something that I kind of needed, because obviously a lot of decks do either play it out to a Cornerstone or their main attacker just ignores Cornerstone. So that's kind of why I've had to go the route I have. So of course we're playing 4 Cornerstone, 4 Munkidori, 2 Dwebble, 2 Crustle, 4 Arven, 3 Lillies, 2 Crispin, 2 Boss, 1 Turo, 1 Iono, 4 Premium Power Pro to obviously give us extra damage, 4 Pokégears, 2 Ultra Balls, 2 Night Stretchers, 1 Nest Ball, 1 Earthen Vessel, 1 Precious Trolley as our A spec to obviously get Cornerstones, Munkidoris, and Dwebble out if needed, because obviously Dwebble isn't always needed. We can normally just stack the ball with Cornerstones and Monkeys. So that's more of what we do here. One counter catcher, one energy switch, one jumbo ice cream. I would love room for more of these, but given this deck does lose Arven and turbo energize to rotation, I think this deck is going to be binned, I'll be honest. But I wanted to do a video on this deck because it's quite unique and everything like that. Then of course 2 turbo energize, 2 bravery charms, which we also lose to rotation, 1 air balloon, 4 dark energy, 3 fighting energy, 3 grass energy, and 2 mist energy. Mist energy, of course, prevents all effects of attacks used by opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon this card is attached to, and of course damage is not an effect, as we already know. But this basically stops Alakazam. Obviously they do play outs to this, but if we can hopefully put some pressure on with the Cornerstones, we should be okay. Obviously Crustle won't be very good in that matchup, but, you know, it can still attack, so that's at least something. And well, we play 2 boss and a CC, so I think we can still, you know, take prizes on like Dunsparces and stuff, if push comes to shove. But obviously Cornerstone is starting to lose a bit of its value. Like obviously with the current meta that's a little bit different. You know, we have Goldengo, which really struggles to do a Cornerstone, let alone 4 of them. Because we could just stack the board with 4 Cornerstones and watch them cry. But then of course you have things like, you know, you've got Charizard as well, which really struggles with it. There's a few other, you know, single prize decks that have abilities that really struggle with Cornerstone. So right now in the standard format, this card does still have good value, but I think post-rotation, this card is going to lose a lot of its value because Pull is taking over the meta. So that's personally my opinion on Cornerstone, at least going forward. But of course, with this deck being, you know, something unique, I wanted to feature it for my last week of standard format videos. Anywho, let's get into a match and see how we do. And welcome to our first game. We're up against someone in the same rank as us, Greninja rank. Obviously, we played the Hops Trevenant the end of last week, which was quite a fun little deck. But I think just, you know, it's one of those decks that, like, it has a lot of potential in terms of, like, you know, tech options. But to follow on from that video, I had a look at, like, what Hops stuff I hadn't covered. Do we want to go first? No, because we want to turbo energize ideally. I had a look and I was like, there isn't really a lot that, you know, Hops hasn't covered. You know, there's fighting and stuff like that. Ooh, this is a horrible hand. And I don't know what I'm facing, but I'm gonna park a Dwebble in front of him. See if that does anything. Ooh, Zoroark. Yeah, they don't have many answers to this, so that's something at least. They don't have answers to Cornerstone either, so this should be a good matchup. They do have Shred with the Zoroark with Zekrom, which they're immediately grabbing, and I can't say I blame them. But yeah, that's going to be mainly where we start to, like, you know, we need something off the top, because this is a horrendous hand to start off with. Well, that's not going to do me any good, so we're just going to bench the Cornerstone, bench the Dwebble. I'll bench a Monkey as well, and I'm just going to pass. They didn't get a Durham marker down, so I'm not hugely concerned, but this hand is dead. I mean, we can evolve into a Crustle, which, you know, Crustle is a really bad time for them. And they're just going to judge. I don't blame them. Looks like they're playing post-rotation Zoroark. Well, there's some energy, finally. Team Rocket's Watchtower, that does not bother us. And it's our turn to go. Okay. Well, I'm just going to attach a grass to Dwebble. I'm going to bench another Monkey, and I'm going to Ascension. Go into the Crustle. That's why we play a 2-2 line, because it's an extra, you know, not only is it an extra attacker, we can, of course, you know, use it as a wall against Zoroark. And there's Serrano. Like I said, this is a horrible matchup for Zoroark, so I'm surprised they're playing it out. Because, you know, Crustle is already hard for them to deal with, especially if we're having Monkey Heals. Because Monkey Heals are actually relevant in this matchup, because if we manage to get 2 Munkidoris powered up with a Crustle as well, we can actually move damage off the Crustle that you use with Shred and knock out a Zoroark. So we do 240. But yeah, this is definitely not a good matchup for them. So they've got the second energy. Do they have a retreat into the Zekrom? They do. Zekrom, the Zoroark. It's the morning brain is like, but yeah. They now get to do 110, which is actually pretty good for them. But of course, that does put poison on them, which is something they need to bear in mind. There's a Power Pro, so I'm just going to attach to the Cornerstone and start attaching to Cornerstone. I can't do anything. I keep top decking crap, which is not good for me. Obviously, Cornerstone does not do weakness, but this is where Power Pro can obviously come into play. But it's fine. I mean, I would love to do fighting weakness to this Petra run, but it's fine. Yeah, this is definitely post-rotation. You would never play a Morty's Conviction in here. They've even got the Durham Marker, but of course they can just go for the Lilies for the turn. And yeah, this is looking good for my opponent. Like I said, this isn't a completely winnable, unwinnable matchup. Well, unlosable matchup is the word I mean. Because they do have Shred with Binding Mochi, which can obviously do quite a bit of work. And obviously they have Petrarunt to maneuver their stuff around, so even if I counter catch her, it's not a big, it's not a big thing. I could, if I eventually get Cornerstone powered up, I could counter catch a Zekrom, but I think it's just more valuable to go after the Zoroarks. Because eventually I'll be able to heal my Cornerstone with setting up Munkidoris and stuff. But there goes Crustle. I'm going to give them the Dwebble, because, well, I can't really do much, so might as well. Let's see what we get off the top. There's a Mist Energy. Mist Energy is... Does that stop Shred? I don't think it does. I'm going to attach it anyway, because, well, I don't really have a whole lot going on here. And I'm just going to pass. There's not a lot I'm doing here, unfortunately. I don't think Mist stops Shred, because I think it just goes through. Because it just says, this attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. I'd imagine it just goes through Cornerstone anyway. I mean, it goes through Cornerstone anyway, we already know this. But I don't know if, Mist stops that. But then, obviously, Shred counters Mist, things like that. I don't know, but we'll soon find out. Obviously, the fact that we haven't really gotten any Munkidoris established is really concerning for me. Because, obviously, that's going to be our main way of healing the Cornerstone. We've also not found any Bravery Charms. We've not really found anything, I'll be honest. We've played a grand total of a couple of cards. And we just keep dead drawing. We keep drawing into, Energy, Power Pro, things like that. We're just not really doing anything. They're going to subjugate and chains again. Okay, I'm not really sure what you're planning here. I mean, you could Flame Body Cannon, but, I mean... That feels like you're losing quite a bit of value if you do that. They're going to boss. And they're going to go for the Cornerstone? No, they go for Munkidori. So they're going to Flame Body Cannon, take out the Monkey and the Dwebble. Fair enough. I mean, they've got the option to do it, so they might as well. And poor Monkey takes a 260 to the face. Unfortunately, there's not really a lot I can do about it. Let's bring up the Cornerstone, because, well, he's just been sitting pretty, and, well, we kind of need to do something, and that is not it. I can bench another, at the very least. I can attach to the Cornerstone. I'll then CC the Zekrom, and demolish for 140. I don't need to use a damage mod, because, well, I don't really need to. I'm doing 140 damage base. There's a Pokégear, that's good. But no, this current situation feels really bad. And of course they have another Zekrom in hand. Why would they not? I mean, I can keep putting pressure on the Zekroms, because obviously post-rotation, we have no Super Rod. They could play Sacred Ash though. They're even going to put the Legacy Energy on the Zekrom so I don't take a prize card? Oh my lord, they have tech for Cornerstone, big time. Shred already does it, but yeah, this is really bad for us. I need a Munkidori heal this turn. I need a Dark Energy. Well, that's not going to do it. That might. So I'm going to pop the Power Pro, because that is the purpose of the video, and I'm going to go for the Lilies. Oh, you're joking me. I mean, the Charm does save it, but they could play something dumb. Because, yeah, the Power Pro does obviously help here. And, yeah, we're just going to go for the 170 Demolish. We didn't get to play many Power Pros, but it's fine. I was hoping, like, I could have obviously gone for Arven, but I didn't price check my Vessel, which is why I didn't go for the Arven. But obviously now we get Crispin, which is good. But obviously I don't know if I have enough fighting index, obviously I only play 3. I only played 3 because obviously I needed to put Grass Energy in. There's another PP up. Oh my lord. They have overly teched for me, I think. Well, here comes another fresh Zoroark, and they're going to go for the Shred again. The Legacy Energy as well just makes things so much more awkward. It genuinely does. Alright, I need something off the top here. That is not it. So let's Ultra Ball these 2 away. Grab a Monkey, because I'm going to need it. We're going to play the Crispin and hope for the best. Okay, we do have the fighting index. Good. So we'll do that. Put that there. Attach the Monkey. Adrenabrain onto the damaged Zoroark. Excuse me. I'm a little bit croaky this first thing. And we'll just hit this for 140, and obviously the poison ticks over. Eventually, we could obviously, you know, get this Zoroark down. Because they want to take out this Cornerstone, but then obviously they could just go for a boss for game on Munkidori. What the hell's that in there for? Why are you playing a Team Rocket's Articuno? Like, why? Why are you playing that? That literally does nothing for you. It specifically states basic Team Rocket's Pokemon. You're not playing Team Rocket's Pokemon. I don't know. I'm not really sure what my opponent's planning there, but I suppose there's something. So here comes another Cornerstone. Well, not another Cornerstone. Another Zoroark. And of course, Shred for 110. Alright. Well, we just gotta hope now. We just gotta hope they don't have boss. But I didn't put much hand destruction in this list because there wasn't really room for it with everything that I needed. There's a boss, but I need to Crispin to actually attack. So we'll go Grass to the Cornerstone, Dark to the Monkey, and Demolish for 140, and just hope they don't have it. But given that they have 12 cards in hand, they have played a grand total of 1 boss's orders, I'm going to suspect they have the boss for game. If they don't, I'll be very surprised. And yep, there it is. Yeah, if they have an answer, like, Zoroark obviously now has an answer to this. And while they have, you know, the Binding Mochi as well, which does an extra 40 damage, it can be really rough for this deck. So, I'm not surprised we lost that one. But anyway, let's go to a game 2. And welcome back to game 2. That was a pretty bad first game 1, but, well, that's just unfortunate. You know, it can happen. You know, we do lose to, you know, cards like that with Shred and stuff like that. And, well, they had Triple Mochi. I mean, you know, they have a lot of, you know, damage mods. Which, you know, they could have even been playing Black Belt's training for all I know. And that would have just been making things even harder. Because even with a Monkey Heal, I would still lose. Well, unless I had a Bravery Charm, I would still lose a Cornerstone to Shred with Binding Mochi. So it can be pretty rough. And obviously, because we whiffed so much in the early game, we didn't even get to Trolley that game. It can be really tough. We're going second. Well, first, sorry. Okay. I'm going to bench a Monkey. I can attach the Monkey. I guess. I can attach the Grass. And I'll just pass. Let's see what we're facing. I mean, the Zoroark is kind of a giveaway. But there's no guarantee. It's Lucario. Okay, we're going to have to lead into the Crustle this game. Not the Cornerstone, because obviously Lucario just one-shots a Cornerstone. No cares given. So we need to lean into the 2-2 Crustle line. Let's hope we've not priced too many of them, because, yeah. Surprisingly, they're going for an attachment to the Riolu, which is interesting. Not really sure what they'd do with that, but I suppose they need to, you know, get their board set up, because obviously they can go immediately into Riolu or Lucario and stuff like that. Okay, well, there's Pokégear. We will take that Arven, because we need it. We'll play the Arven. We'll go Trolley. and Turbo Energize. Play the trolley, get out both Dwebble, another monkey, and I might as well grab one. Because you never know, for a start. I can attach the Dwebble. I could go into the Crustle now, and I think it's fine. But then again, I need to get energy on the board, so I'm going to play it safe and go for the monkey with Turbo Energize. So, I will go for a dark and a grass. Grass can go here, dark can go here. Because then at least we're only a Crispin away from attacking with anything apart from Cornerstone. This might be a dumb idea, getting a Cornerstone down in this matchup specifically, but, well, I kind of need to do something here. You know, I'm obviously going to be leaning more into the Crustle, because that's why I put it in the list, because this is a tough matchup for us with just Cornerstone, because they just go straight through it. You know, they can play enough damage mods to take out a Cornerstone, even with Aura Jab. And speaking of the devil, they just bin one of them. So that's good for us. But obviously, Mega Brave just goes straight through Cornerstone anyway, even with a Bravery Charm. So, you know, we only have limited options in this matchup, which is why I had to put in the 2-2 Crustle line. But, yeah, there's the Lucario already. But they do need a damage mod if they're going to attack this Munkidori. Because, well, they do minus 30, so they're doing 100 damage. Unless they want to attach for turn and do a Mega Brave. Could be an option, but they could also have Boss for one of the Dwebbles. Nope, they're just going to Aura Jab for 100. Okay, that's fine. Not really sure why they binned the Power Pro if that was their intention, but I guess they maybe did their maths wrong or something. So evolve into the Crustle. We'll Pokégear. We will take that Crispin, because we do need that. We can then retreat into the Crustle. Play the Crispin. I'll take the Dark to hand because I'm going to need that. I'll put it on the Crustle. I can then Mist Energy the Crustle. Adrenabrain 30 off the Monkey. Now, does me moving damage off here really relevant this Lucario? Not particularly. Because I'm still going to be 3-hitting it regardless. As if I get a Cornerstone established where that might be relevant. I'm just going to put it on the Lunatone because they will unlikely to heal this. And then we'll just go for the Superb Scissors. I will obviously try to attack with Cornerstone throughout this match, but there's no guarantee because obviously it is a high, you know, it's not really worth doing when Mega Lucario just one-shots it anyway. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. Obviously, they've probably never played against a Crustle deck before, so this could be an advantage for us. And obviously, with us having a Dark Energy for turn, we could attach it to the Munkidori and then start double Adrenabrating onto the Lunatone, which will definitely be beneficial for us. But of course, they're going to start off with a Lunar Cycle, which is fine. But yeah, this matchup is kind of why I had to put this Crustle line in. I didn't want to, because I wanted it to just be Cornerstone. But given how much stuff there is in the meta right now that could just counter this, it can be very, you know, it can be very... It could be something that you don't really want to have happen. But, you know, it's just something you have to deal with, unfortunately. But of course, they do have their Solrocks, and obviously they are preparing the Rock Army, which... Let's hope Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson doesn't turn up, because he might be a bit angry about that, but, you know. Obviously, the Solrock does go through Crustle, because obviously it is a single prizer without an ability, and obviously, well, it's not Cornerstone, but, you know, and it is a basic Pokemon that isn't an EX, so it does have that option in that regard. But, of course, they do need to start playing some Power Pros. They're going to grab a Makuhita. And obviously, Solrock does go through Cornerstone anyway because it doesn't have an ability, but still. They're just going to grab a Makuhita. I think they're going to retreat this. No. Okay, I think I know what you're doing. You're going to power up your boys. That makes complete sense. So I think we do need to start getting, you know, multiple attackers established. I mean, the Makuhita is quite obvious. Well, that's not particularly helpful. Let's go for an Arven. We will grab ourselves our Turbo Energizer's prize, both of them. You've got to be kidding me. Well, I need that charm to survive a hit from... well, charm won't help against Hariyama, but still. I could... No, I can't take out this this Makuhita this turn. If he'd have done damage, I could have. I'm gonna just take the energy switch. I think it's fine to do that. So I'll charm the Cornerstone because that technically makes him use, or it will make him use, or it will Mega Brave. Right. Well, let's start off with an Adrenabrain because that can obviously be helpful. I think I just focus down the Lunatone still, but then again, Makuhita, if I put 70 damage on it, it will attack into a Crustle and take it out. And then, of course, you know, we could potentially do that. Because then it obviously kills itself, because it's 150 HP, I think. So then we'll Energy Switch off the monkey to the other monkey with the 10 left. And we'll do that. Do I want to Vessel here? I might as well. I'll grab one of each. And then Superb Scissors. Alright, this could be something. This could be something. This could definitely be something. This is not good though, because obviously they can potentially get that Hariyama established, which might be what they do. They're going to thin the maximum belt. Fair play. That makes complete sense. Obviously Lucario is now in Superb Scissors range, which is going to be useful. But obviously I want to try and start attaching to this Cornerstone if I can. Oh, they got the Pokepads, so that means Hariyama's coming down. And yep, there it is, 150 HP like I remembered. Obviously it will not kill itself with Wild Press, but I'm kind of hoping that, you know, we can at least do something. They may go for the Cornerstone, which they are. That's fine. It just means we're going to be playing the long game with Crustle, but I can live with that. They can also Aura Jab it and set up their board more, but I don't think... I mean, they've not got any energy in the discard pile. They have to Mega Brave this. Yeah, this is... You know what? I'm actually somewhat confident now in this matchup, like, because of the Crustle. Like, it's not guaranteed, because obviously they do have that Hariyama, which can obviously be quite a big threat. There's the switch. I don't know why they're playing that, because they already have the free retreat. But, I mean, maybe they just didn't see the line. But, of course... Oh, they're just going to concede. They must have not had the energy to do it. Or they just, you know, once they lose that Hariyama, that's kind of it for their answers and stuff. Alright, I'll take that. Let's go to game 3. Welcome back to game 2, is it? No, game 3. This is, yeah, this has not been going the best, I must admit. But like I said, that's kind of why I had to put the Crustle line in, because we would just auto-lose to Lucario. We'd auto-lose to a lot of decks, in fact. Like, ones that, you know, have no ability, like Dragapult, we would just lose to. Lucario, we would just lose to. Zoroark is not exactly guaranteed, because obviously they do have Shred with their Zoroark now, which can obviously be quite annoying, but still. Ooh. Okay, well that's fine. We took 2 mulligans. They've seen pretty much what our strategy is. Okay. Oh, right, well this is not a good start. We've not had many good starts for this deck, which is what I'm starting to piece together, you know. I thought I did a decent job with the deck build, but apparently I'm just whiffing on everything. It's fine. We can at least, you know, start getting some, you know, stuff established. So we'll Nest Ball, grab a Dwebble. We have prize 1, but we've got both Crustle, which is alright. We have prize of Cornerstone as well. And our monkeys in our hand. Got an Arven in the prizes. We've got 2 Lillies in the prizes. Oh, jeez. I might as well just concede. I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. Just going to grab that. Pass. Because there's not really a lot I can do. I have the Crustle in hand, so I don't need to Ultra Ball. But, yeah. This is, this not very good. And if it's Pult, which it is, this is a horrible matchup for us, even with the Crustle. Because... they are highly likely to be playing Dust Noir. Fun. Oh, and it means our Pokégears are offline, by the way, in case anyone forgot. Good old itchy pollen. Yeah, this is the problem with a deck like this. I built it for fun, but obviously, you know, this isn't really something you would take on the ladder. Crispin? Oh boy, we're playing against a interesting pull build. Maybe this is post-rotation pull. It could be. There's a possibility. I mean, you know, Crispin is only played in, you know, post-rotation pull, but now, of course, our Cornerstone is in pull range because of Itchy... I mean, it would have been Itchy Pollen anyway. We're just going to bench the Monkey, evolve the Crustle, and pass, because that's all we can do. So now this little bug, I mean, it doesn't... I'm not bothered about the Badoo, because obviously my hand is dead, but... yeah, this is definitely not good for us. I mean, we got a win, at the very least, you know. We did manage to utilize most of the deck, but... the Power Pro part, we've not really been able to use, because, you know, we've just been running into matchups that... you know, we can't really make use of it, which is the problem. But they're not really doing a lot, which indicates to me they don't really have an answer to, like, Crustle in general. There's another Crispin. We're going Psychic this time. Did it have a Dark Energy, maybe? No, they're going to double attach Fire for some reason. I think they must have misclicked. That's my guess, anyway. And there's another Itchy Pollen. Come on, one of my 2 Lillies off the top, please, because this hand is extremely dead. Alright, I'll take that. That could be useful. If I get another energy, that is. So that's at least something. We are getting there. Doesn't matter what energy type it is, I just need one off the top, or some way to get one without having to use, you know, an item, and we should be fine. But yeah, they definitely misclicked when it came to the Crispin. They should have put the Fire in hand and then the Psychic on a Dreepy, but... I don't think they're going to be losing sleep over that, personally. Mega Kangaskhan? Well, I don't hit you for weakness anyway, but, you know, the extra draw power could actually be relevant, so maybe they play a Latias in the list. This is an interesting post-rotation pull list. I don't remember them playing Kang. I've seen a couple with, like, Meowth, but the Meowth is to be expected. Candy pull, great. That's just my luck. Yeah, I think we just lose here. But hey, I didn't say these decks were going to be good, alright? I said they were going to be funny, which this one is, but they have the Latias, they have the Lilies. Can I have that, please? I mean, at least we're not getting an item lot this turn, but that's not hugely relevant. Jamming Tower, so our Bravery Charms are useless. Great. Because another thing as well, we don't play a stadium, so that Jamming Tower is going to stick. They're going to get an evolution onto that. They're going to Recon Directive. Yeah, this is just horrible for us. Literally, the only thing we wall in this deck is the Kang, because obviously the Kang can attack. But yeah, this is a shocking board state. Well, there's a Dark Energy. I can technically attack now, but there's not really much value in me doing it. But you know what? For the content, we're going to play double Power Pro and hit for 200. Because why the hell not? And yeah, they're just going to come in with a pull, destroy my board, and then that's the end of us. Because they even have Munkidori. Ugh. But to be fair, I wasn't expecting this deck to exactly beat pull anytime soon. But obviously, if I did do weakness, that would have been a lot better because I'd only need to play 1 Power Pro and then obviously kill the Kang. But obviously, Demolish does not do weakness or resistance. So, yeah, we do not hit them for weakness. I mean, the only way in which we can potentially do something is if they Phantom Dive the Monkey, but realistically, they're not going to do that. They're just going to kill the Cornerstone, put 6 on the Crustle, and then watch me cry. But yeah, they're taking a bit of time with their actions, which indicates to me they're learning this deck, which is fine by me. I'm happy for that. I am looking forward to playing some post-rotation pull, because, you know, there's a few different ways you can build it. I wasn't expecting a Kang, I must admit. But, you know, I guess it's an extra attacker, but yeah, they have double pull established, even with their misclick from earlier. So, yeah, this is a horrible matchup, which is what I expected. But hopefully the next deck that obviously I play for Wednesday's video, the Charizard Terror Box idea, I hope that goes a little bit better, because that's something a bit more unique and, you know, something a bit more special in that regard. Oh, and they've even got the Dark Energy for a Dreadabrain. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop. We are not winning this one, I'm afraid, folks. Like, we lost the moment they flipped over a Dreepy, let's put it that way. But yeah, at least we got to use the Power Pros and just have a little bit of fun. But yeah, this is definitely a deck that, you know, the idea was funny, but obviously because it's the end of the standard format, I wanted to play it anyway just to have a little bit of fun. So, what did I think to the deck? Unfortunately, this is one of those decks that Joe thought of in his spare time, that, you know, had somewhat relevant value, but obviously with some of the decks that are walled by Cornerstone kind of dying off, and obviously a lot more Pokemon that are able to go through Cornerstone, obviously becoming more popular to obviously counter it, it can be very tricky, and even with the 2-2 Crustle line, we really had some tough matchups. Obviously the Zoroark one was pretty tough, the Lucario one was not exactly easily winnable neither, because obviously they do have Hariyama to deal with the Crustle, and obviously Lucario goes through the Cornerstone. So yeah, I think that's kind of what PTCG in general has been doing, is they've been printing cards that counter these wall Pokemon more often, which I agree with, you know, we do need answers to them. But unfortunately this deck just isn't very good, but to be honest I wasn't expecting it to be very good either. But anyway, I'm going to leave it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing this wacky deck build with Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon with the Premium Power Pro package, and I'll see you next time.